What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about the newly unvaulted Ranger shotgun. So this weapon was just unvaulted today, and it was previously in the game for like the second half of Chapter 3 Season 2. So not a very long time, and it's been a while since then because Chapter 3 Season 3 was a really long season. So I'm going to be talking about this weapon, what it does, what I think of it, and how I think it compares to the current shotguns that are in the game. If you guys do find this video helpful and informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below what you think of the Ranger shotgun. So before we get into any of that, I'm just going to start it by saying I feel like this is a very divisive weapon. I feel like you either love this weapon and it's like your favorite shotgun ever, or you absolutely hate it. And I'm in that second part. I've never really been too fond of this weapon, and I feel like with the current loot pool, it's not really necessary. So it's a really high range, high damage, like really consistent shotgun that only holds one bullet. So you hit one shot and then you have to reload, but you do a lot of damage with that one shot, and it's very consistent because it has a long range, because it has a really high body damage count, and because it has a very small reticle, so the pellets don't really disperse that much. If you hit the person, you're probably hitting them with the majority of your pellets. And I'll have the stats on screen now, and as you can see, it hits very hard to the body, but it doesn't benefit very much from headshots. On the stat screen, ignore the last numbers. Those are the mythic version of this weapon, which doesn't exist. It's just in the game files, but it's not actually in the game, if that makes any sense. But as you can see, the gold one maxes out at 178 damage. So it does 142 to the body. If you hit a perfect headshot, it's 178. Let's go to the blue one for comparison. It's 130 to the body, 163 to the head if you hit a perfect shot. So this weapon doesn't actually benefit very much from headshots, and as long as you just tag the person, you're doing relatively the same amount of damage, you know? Sure, 160 isn't better than 130 for sure, but it's not like a game changer, you know what I mean? And when you compare this to the Prime fully loaded max damage on a gold one is 190. A purple one is 185. I believe a blue Prime is 180 if you hit a perfect shot with the max like the fully loaded max damage benefit. So I feel like the Prime is just a better shotgun, and they've never been in the game at the same time. Like I said, the Ranger was only here for Chapter 3 Season 2, and then the Prime came out last season in Chapter 3 Season 3. But when the Prime dropped, I felt like it was just a better Ranger shotgun because you have the extreme upside of like really high damage, but you also have follow-up shots, whereas the Ranger shotgun doesn't actually hit as hard, and you have no potential for follow-up shots. Sure, the Prime only hits harder than the Ranger if you have that fully loaded benefit, but you can kind of compare them, you know? If you keep your Prime fully loaded, you could play it similar to how a Ranger is, and you're gonna have consistently more damage, but you also have follow-up shots if needed. You know, you can shoot your shotgun, swap to your Chrome burst, put out a burst, swap back to your shotgun, like I've talked about in several videos, or do that with an SMG. But with the Ranger shotgun, you don't have the option to swap back to your shotgun, and I feel like the Prime is just way better. I'll have a clip on screen here where I push somebody, I hit him with the Prime, or I hit him with the Ranger, sorry. We kind of separate, I reload, I go for another shot, and then I hit him over 100 with both shots, and he just deletes me with the Prime shotgun, and he has 1 HP remaining. I feel like if I had a Prime in this situation, I would have killed this player for sure, and I would have had more ways that I could play that fight. So I feel like the only real benefit of the Ranger shotgun compared to the Prime is going to be that it has much more range, and that is beneficial for sure. But oftentimes I feel like it's not the biggest deal in Fortnite. Most, especially in zero build, a lot of zero build has been dominated by really low range shotguns like the auto shotgun and the drum shotgun. Like oftentimes you're either using your shotgun or you're in a medium range fight, especially with shockwaves or whatever mobility are in the game. It's really easy to close that gap on somebody. So having like an extra tile of range to use your shotgun in can be beneficial sometimes, but I feel like most of the time it isn't going to be. I feel like this gun is probably best in build mode, but even in build mode, I would prefer the Prime, but it's easier to keep it loaded in build mode. And I've said this about the Prime as well. You just box up and reload and keep your fully loaded benefit of the Prime, and you could do the same with the Ranger. And if you box up consistently after shooting, you're not at a huge disadvantage because you don't have follow-up in the same way that you would be in zero build. But even then, I would rather just have the Prime because it has more upside, in my opinion, and the added range isn't the biggest deal to me. If you wanted to just play height and consistently throw out shots and hope that you hit some with the Ranger, it would be better for that than the Prime. But I feel like that's just not necessarily needed in the current meta because I'm going to be using the Chrome burst for that anyway. So the Ranger shotgun, I feel like, is is just in a weird spot where it's a good weapon, but it isn't necessarily better than some of the other weapons that currently exist in the game. Or like there's other weapons that fill those roles better. And there's the Prime Shotgun, which has the same upside in theory of like really high damage, but it just does it better than what the Ranger does. But like I said, this is a weapon that I feel like you're going to either really like or you're going to really hate. And I've never really been that fond of it when it was in the game. And I feel like if you're on controller, I don't know if I'm the only person who feels this way, but I feel like this gun gets way less aim assist than the other shotguns. Like I've never been comfortable using this weapon the entire time it's been in the game. It is fun to use and it's satisfying when it works out, but it just feels way less consistent to me than the other shotguns, as odd as that is, because it is very consistent. That's its main benefit. But just like the play style around it is so punishing if you miss your shot or for some reason hit a low damage shot, that other shotguns really aren't in that way. So the gun is really consistent, but the play style around it or the situations you might get in can either go really good or really bad based on how you hit your shot. There's no room for error with this weapon, and you know, that's just not ideal. Also in team game modes, it's obviously not going to be as good for those as the shotguns with larger mag counts, because if you aren't going to be able to reload all the time in the middle of a like 4-on-4 fight in squads. So this is just a weapon I've never really been a fan of, but I thought I would talk about it, give it strengths and weaknesses, and compare it to the other shotguns in the game. I don't think I'm going to be using this. I think I'm going to be continuing to use the Prime Shotgun, and I would probably take the Lever Shotgun over this as well. It's just not really a gun I've ever really enjoyed using. If you guys did find this video helpful or informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, comment down below what you think of this Ranger Shotgun, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. I bet these are the same two people I was bursting at earlier. They just like have the weirdest fight where like they both exist next to each other for long periods of time, but neither of them do anything to each other. And then I just come in and start like spraying them. They hate me, dude. That was weird. I can't hit this guy. He was weak. 3 opponents remain. Very balanced. Oh no. Him placing those ramps was so good for him. I don't know what the hell that person is thinking. He like shocked in his zone to fight me, so I just shocked to his spot. That one guy I was having a build fight with, I like kind of Thwifo coned and then didn't put my top because I thought he wasn't gonna keep ramping me and I was just gonna mantle up and pump him. But him putting those ramps was a good play, but we could just still hit the side mantle. But it seemed like I think I had him weak and I didn't think he would expect the mantle play. And I wanted to end that fight quick, that way we didn't get like third partied and held in zone like we eventually did, but I didn't did it fast enough.